You're going to be under arrest.
For what?
For not listening to me.
I think the emergency is the video, somebody's videotaping.
Okay. And the shirt says, I believe, balls deep. He says his name is Captain Awesome.
Hey guys, Rogue Nation here with you today, and we have a video coming to you from John Phillips. I've showcased some of his videos before. He's an attorney in North Florida. I do believe he's pretty good at the job that he does, so if you're in North Florida or any of the other areas that they cover, you're looking for a good attorney, I would suggest talking with Mr. Phillips. Seems like he's on the ball and knows what he's doing. But this video is about an investigation of a former deputy, Tim James, and it has to do with the excessive force used against a juvenile. So it's, again, stuff that we realize that goes on all the time, but that they try to hide from us or say that it doesn't happen all the time, or it's only a few bad apples, yada yada. So without further ado, guys, let's get in the video. Leave me a comment down below what you think of this incident. I think it's just disgusting. You'll see. Alright guys, we'll check you on the next one.
The car, you can see some shaking in the car itself. Obviously there's two people in it, so it didn't really, set any bells and whistles off. So I walk up. At this point I can start hearing one of the subjects in the back, I don't know who it is, yelling and cursing by the fact that it's, Officer James had struck him. He didn't think it was right. He's going to go to jail for this. So I open up the back door, turn on my flashlight. It's the juvenile who's on the back passenger side. Says that he got struck by Officer James. I did a check of his face where he said that he was struck was in the face. Did not see any marks at this point in time. I said, just hold on. We'll get it taken care of. Just hold on for a minute. So I closed the door, got with Officer James. I said, start verifying the warrants on these guys. Let's try to verify who they are, and let's start working on all the arrest and booking report until Chris Stanley can get there.
All right, let me stop you for just a second so I can catch up. He's walking away from the car. There's obviously some type of commotion. When you get there, this is when the juvenile claims that the officer struck him.
Correct.
Okay. You take your flashlight, you look at the you look at the juvenile that's in the back seat. You don't notice anything outright.
Correct.
Do you have any conversation with Officer James, or does he say anything about that there was an altercation at that point,
He kind of, I don't know if it was like a smirk or like a kind of a laugh, like I can't believe he said that kind of deal. And so as he's outside the car at this point, and he doesn't say anything. He literally takes his fist and he shows them to me, like in this manner, like, look at my fist. There's nothing, like I'm on like in a manner of like, look at my fist. There's nothing wrong with my fist if I hit somebody, kind of deal.
Okay.
But didn't say that.
Nothing was said, but by your interpretation of this was, hey, look, if I punched him, you would know it.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So at this point, we're working on the warrants. We're working on IDing these guys. I requested Officer James, because he's having problems getting the social security number of one of our subjects that needs to be identified. I request that he gets on David to verify the social security number, verify who he is, since he is not from Jacksonville. He states that he didn't have David, it wasn't working, his wasn't working properly. So I advised him I would go to my car, get on my David, pull up both subjects in, and get their identification to verify who they were.
And did you have an opportunity to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
I walked back to the car, got in the driver's seat, I hadn't even brought it up yet, started to do it, to get on David, when I hear a commotion over there. And I hear Sarge, and then as I get out, I look back and see Officer Tim James running towards the back, yelling, he fucking spit on me, he spit on me, through the grating. So as I'm running over there, all of a sudden I see him open the door, pull the subject out, and slam him on the ground. So while I'm en route doing that, my mindset is, you know,
So just for clarification, I apologize to cut you off.
Yep.
You hear Sarge, you hear the commotion, you hear Sarge, he spit on me, and then you said Officer James opened the door. The back, there's still both suspects are secured in the backseat of the car?
Correct.
Okay,
Both secured,
they
both
have
handcuffs on
Okay.
them, behind their backs.
Okay, go ahead from there then, I'm sorry.
Both behind their backs. They, the first subject is on the rear passenger door where Officer James goes to. He extracts him from there, slams him on the ground. And my mindset is, you know, I've dealt with spitting suspects multiple times in my career. And I'm literally going, okay, if he spit on you, did he do more than that? Or, you know, so in my head, I'm trying to formulate, okay, is there more to this situation? What's going on? So as I'm starting to close the distance, I see the second suspect exit and go right into the back of Officer James. The way he comes out is almost like he's trying to escape. It almost looked like he was trying to escape. So I yell at James. I'm like, watch it. The suspect, you know, the other guy's coming out. So James luckily grabs a hold of him as he's going around, and then as he does that, I guess he pulls away from James, but you see literally James pick him up off the ground and almost like a windmill kind of deal, and then slam him on the ground. And by the time I get there to the second suspect, he's slammed on the ground. I take control of him. Because he's still flailing, he's still trying to get up, he's still aggravated. So I put my knee in between his shoulder blades, advise them to stop. I advised Officer James, who has control of our first suspect who got extracted from the vehicle, to place him back in the vehicle because we want to control the scene, and having both out wasn't ideal. Okay. So I tell him, put him back in the vehicle, hurry up.
Let me just pause you just for clarification, and we'll pick up at the car. You said the first person that he grabs out to pull out, I'm assuming, and I don't want to assume, that's why I'm asking, Correct. Is that the juvenile that's on the passenger side?
Yes.
Okay, so the juvenile comes out first, goes to the ground, and then you said the second suspect exited the car. I'm assuming that's the adult brother that was initially on the driver's side, now is slid across to the open door on the passenger side.
Correct.
Okay.
On his own, still handcuffed.
Okay. And then that's the person that ultimately you controlled by putting your
knee in
the shoulders, and then now you're directing Officer James to put the juvenile or original suspect back into his car.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Just to clarify on this real quick. The adult one that you helped subdue on the ground, he comes out of the car. You say James takes him to the ground. Do you recall that person, was he saying anything? Do you recall him saying anything while he was coming out of the car or anything?
I don't know the exact words. He was mad at the fact that what James was doing towards his brother. That was his focus. Like, you can't do that. That's bullshit, you know. Okay. And as we had him down, he's like, get the handcuffs off of me. This bullshit. I'll kill that motherfucker. You know, that's the suspect, the adult suspect. Okay. He's saying that because he's mad at the fact of what's going on. So I'm having to tell him, you need to calm down, trying to control him. So at this point, I've advised Officer James. I've directed him to put the other suspect back in the car so we can control him. I'm radioing to... I believe at that point I'm radioing to dispatch to speed, or I'm dispatching the other officer who's already en route to speed up his progress to get there. Because
that's Officer Stanley that you originally called that was on his way.
Correct. Just because hurry up because of the situation we had. So Officer James I can see him like he's struggling a little bit with the suspect, like he's pushing him in. So he pushes the suspect into the car forcibly. And then at this point, he goes into the vehicle, fully in, like his full body is in the vehicle. James is Officer James on top of the suspect, the juvenile suspect. He's fully on top of him, and all I can see is his arm coming up and down about between 4 and 6 times. I mean, I don't know the exact count because I was having to deal with the guy on the ground, but I'm yelling the whole time, James, stop. Tim, stop, Tim. You know, and so he's not listening. I'm like, Officer James, stop. And then after he said that, I could see it's almost like he comes up with his fist, and it's almost like he's looking for a location to hit him, and then he comes down with the last strike. And then he exits the vehicle, closes the door, and then when he closes the door, the juvenile suspect raises up, and you can already see that he's got abrasions on above his eye. You can see that his mouth is just full of blood. He's got saliva that's full of blood that's just dripping out of his mouth. And so at that point, by this time, Officer Stanley has arrived. We've actually, at this point, we've taken out the juvenile suspect, or Officer James did, and placed him in Officer Stanley's car. I don't know the reason behind that. They did it while I still controlled the other suspect. When they did that, I placed the other suspect in the Officer James's car to keep them separated. And after that whole altercation, at that point, I started making some notifications due to the actions that I observed.
And who'd you call first?
Lieutenant James Brennick. He's my direct supervisor.
He was already off.
Yeah, he was already off. He had just gotten off probably 20 minutes prior to that, and I didn't know if he may have been on the, like en route to the house, maybe at the driveway, that kind of deal, and would come back out. But he was off at 4:25, I think, and so he was off in the house, and it directed me to call the day watch lieutenant in Zone 3, which he was not. He was off that day. So I did a check of the MDC to see who was on, which I noticed that Lieutenant Surkar was on, and I notified him.
At any point from the point that the initial "he spit on me" statement was made by Officer James in regards to going around to the car, did you, I know Officer Stanley may not have been there at this point, Officer James, did anybody say, hey, we're going to take him out to put a spit mask on him? Did they do anything? I know you said you were trying to process why he came out of the car.
Correct.
Presumably, if that's the only reason, did you ever see any effort to put a spit mask on him in the time that you were there?
Not at all. It wasn't brought up.
And understanding that they were mouthy in the initial kind of resistance to want to be placed in custody until you used the little bit of pain compliance, and he realized, okay, did you yourself ever see the suspects do anything to warrant Officer James, or anybody for that matter, striking a person that's handcuffed?
No, not at all. I mean, like you said, they were mouthy, they were saying stuff, but I mean, that's a normal day thing for officers. So I mean, it just wasn't, to me, it just didn't seem like that was needed.
As a result of the interaction between you ordering or instructing, telling, or whatever Officer James to stop what he was doing, afterwards, did you feel the need to get any medical attention, or did you have rescue or anybody come out and check?
Correct. I went to the juvenile, observed his injuries, asked him how he felt, if he needed rescue. He was obviously shaken and visibly upset. Stated that he said his whole body hurt, everything on his face hurt, his chest hurt, his legs hurt, and that he definitely wanted rescue to come check him out.
Okay.
So
you arranged for that to happen?
We called rescue, had him en route, and JFRD responded and checked him out.
Okay. And when JFRD was there, did the juvenile who was injured do anything? Did he resist or fight?
No.
Either your efforts, you being the police, or the fire department, in an effort to treat him?
No, not at all.
Okay. I know the answer to this, but they didn't find it necessary to transport him. Obviously, he has injuries. They just didn't feel the need that they needed to transport him. Okay.
Correct.
Just a second, make sure that other than who you later found out was a correctional officer that was the initial complainant who called Orange County to get the additional information, and I've spoken to him. Was there anybody else? Did you see any other citizens or people around at the time, other officers or anybody that may have witnessed this?
There was a second citizen with the GSO employee.
Robert,
that was
which I spoke to.
Correct.
Okay.
I didn't have his name,
That's
but
fine.
he was with him the whole time. So when they came up and made first initial contact with me, the two subjects were together. When I went to use the restroom, those two were already in dailies together. When I came out, they were together. When I exited, they were together and everything. So they always stood together the whole time.
So, the best of your knowledge, all the witnesses that you are aware of to this incident, we've had an opportunity to speak with. No one that you know of witnessed it and left before we could get there. Okay. After this incident occurred, did you have occasion to ask Officer James why he struck him, or this is when you started making the calls to Lieutenant Brennick and Sircar?
At that point, I knew this was going to go a route that I shouldn't start asking any questions,
Okay.
so I made the notifications at that point.
Okay. Did he being Officer James, make any statements to you? I know you didn't question, but did he make any statements concerning what was going on to you?
When I was walking by, when I wasn't on phone calls, he, made some statements about the fact that him getting spit on, but that was the, kind of in passing. I didn't hold a conversation with him in regards to that.
Which is the comment about him being spit on, that was already known to you.
Correct.
Because he had already made that prior to. So nothing new.
Nothing new at
Okay.
that point.
All right. If you'll give me just a second, and I'll be right back, and then we'll go on. All right, Sergeant, I appreciate your time. I just want to make sure that I didn't have anything else. Detective Bodie came in and had to leave.
Okay.